Before a single sword was drawn, ancient warriors did something else first. They painted their skin, drank blood, burned incense in their helmets, or worked themselves into a screaming frenzy, all to feel ready to die, or ready to kill. Here are 14 of the craziest rituals warriors actually performed before walking into battle. The Berserker Rage. Norse berserkers were said to enter battle in a trance-like fury, howling, biting their shields, and feeling no pain from wounds. Sagas describe them working themselves into this state through ritual, possibly aided by fasting, drumming, or mind-altering herbs. Enemies feared them enough that some Norse leaders reportedly banned berserkers from their own ranks during peacetime, unsure they could control the rage once it started. The Spartan Hair-Combing. Before the Battle of Thermopylae, Persian scouts reported something strange. The Spartans defending the pass were calmly combing their long hair. To the Greeks, this wasn't vanity, it was ritual composure, a way of preparing to die well and look their best doing it. Their king reportedly explained that when men are about to risk their lives, they adorn their heads. The Maori Haka. Before combat, Maori warriors performed the haka, a thunderous chant combined with foot stamping, tongue protrusions, and wide-eyed glaring meant to display strength and intimidate the enemy before a single blow landed. It also served a spiritual purpose, unifying the warriors and summoning their courage together as one. Modified versions of the haka are still performed today, most famously before rugby matches. The Celtic Woad warriors. Ancient Celtic warriors, according to Roman writers, went into battle painted head to toe in blue woad dye, sometimes fighting entirely naked despite the terror of facing armed opponents. The paint was believed to carry spiritual protection, and the display of fearlessness was itself a weapon, meant to unsettle enemies who had never seen anything like it. The samurai helmet incense. Japanese samurai prepared for battle with a ritual called kabuto nai ko wotaku, burning incense inside their helmets before a fight. If a samurai died and their head was taken as a battlefield trophy, they wanted it to smell pleasant rather than of sweat and blood, even in death maintaining a warrior's dignity and composure. Roman augury. Roman commanders wouldn't attack without consulting the auspices, often by watching how sacred chickens ate grain before the battle. If the chickens ate eagerly, the gods favored the attack. If they refused to eat, commanders could delay for hours, or, in famous cases, ignore the omen entirely and pay for it on the battlefield. The Scythian blood ritual. According to the historian Herodotus, Scythian warriors drank a small amount of blood from the first enemy they killed in battle, a ritual believed to bind them to their kill and prove their courage to the rest of the warband. Warriors who hadn't yet made a kill were reportedly excluded from certain feasts and honors until they had. Zulu purification ritual. Before battle, warriors of the 19th century Zulu kingdom were prepared by an nyanga, a traditional healer who administered protective medicine called intellizi, believed to shield them from harm and enemy magic. Warriors were washed, dosed with herbal mixtures, and ritually cleansed before joining their regiment, a practice tied closely to the military discipline that made Zulu regiments so formidable. The Mongol Sky Blessing. Before major campaigns, Mongol shamans performed rituals invoking Tengri, the eternal sky god, asking for the blue sky's favor over the coming battle. Genghis Khan himself was said to retreat alone to a mountaintop for days of prayer before major campaigns, seeking a sign that heaven approved of the war ahead. The Highland War Pipes. Scottish Highland clans marched into battle to the sound of war pipes, a piercing, droning instrument that could be heard over the chaos of combat from over a mile away. Pipers walked directly into the fighting alongside the warriors, using the sound both to coordinate movements and to terrify enemies who had never encountered anything like it. The role was so dangerous that piper casualty rates in later wars were reportedly among the highest of any position on the battlefield. The Sekhmet Invocation. Egyptian soldiers prayed to Sekhmet, the lioness-headed goddess of war and plague, before marching into conflict, believing she could unleash devastating power on their behalf, or turn it against them if angered. Amulets bearing her image were carried into battle for protection, and pharaohs themselves invoked her name in temple inscriptions celebrating military victories, crediting the goddess's fury for their success. Chinese oracle bone divination. Shang dynasty kings prepared for war by heating ox bones or turtle shells until they cracked, reading the pattern of fractures as a message from their ancestors about whether and when to attack. Thousands of these inscribed bones have survived, recording real questions asked before real campaigns, giving historians a direct window into the anxiety of rulers about to send soldiers to die. The Lakota War Ceremony. Before riding into battle, Lakota warriors of the northern plains took part in ceremonies seeking spiritual protection, often carrying medicine bundles or wearing eagle feathers earned through prior deeds of courage. These ceremonies, led by respected spiritual leaders, were meant to align a warrior's actions with sacred power, and surviving accounts describe the deep seriousness with which they were prepared and performed. The Aboriginal Corroboree. In parts of Aboriginal Australia, conflict between groups could be preceded by a corroboree, a ceremonial gathering combining body paint, dance, and song passed down through generations. While corroborees served many purposes beyond warfare, war-related versions were used to build resolve and unity before a confrontation, rooted in traditions of storytelling and connection to land that stretch back tens of thousands of years. Different continents, different centuries, but the same instinct before facing death. Warriors reached for something bigger than themselves: paint, blood, prayer, or a perfectly combed head of hair. Most of these rituals are gone now, replaced by briefings and equipment checks. But for most of human history, going to war meant preparing the spirit first and the body second.